Oh man. I don't know. That's a great one. You stumped me there. I don't know.
Oh, Jaguar. Or is it Jaguar or Jaguar? It's the big ass cat, bruh. Just in case you've been living under a rock, last year Jaguar did a promo video announcing a new concept car. And both the promo video and the concept car, well, let's just say they weren't exactly positively received by everyone. And given where Jaguar comes from with their heritage and their history, I really want to get to the bottom of why they made such an extreme pivot. So here it is, a sit-down interview with me and the brand director, Brandon Baldessari. And fun fact, he is not bald. Hope you enjoy. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks, Miles. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, likewise. So tell me about a bit of your background at Jaguar and kind of how you got to this point.
Sure, yeah. I started with JLR 12 and a half years ago.
Okay.
And, a lot of people don't know this, but inside JLR, we actually have very few dedicated brand jobs.
Yeah.
Most of us are all working across all the brands, but I actually started in a Jaguar job. And so my first role within the company was a Jaguar dedicated role. And then I got a chance to go to the UK for a few years, and I was also with a Jaguar dedicated role. I was working in launch planning.
Yeah.
Got a chance to launch I-Pace and work on the mid-cycle refresh of F-Type, E-Pace.
Nice.
And so that was great. That was a lot of fun. And then, so this is actually my third time I've had a Jaguar dedicated role in the business, which is really unusual inside JLR. So I would say I'm definitely a Jaguar man.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite cars growing up?
Ooh, that's a great question. Okay, so I grew up and there was a lot of muscle cars that I was a fan of. The Fox Body Mustang was a favorite of mine. And then all the Japanese cars from the 90s.
Yeah.
Like Mazda RX-7, Nissan 300ZX, Acura NSX.
Okay.
Toyota Supra.
Okay.
All those, the Japanese cars were all, favorites of mine.
So drivers cars.
Yeah,
for the most
definitely.
part.
I learned how to drive on a Volvo with a manual transmission.
Nice.
My first, I don't know how many cars were manual transmissions I had. My first car I ever bought with my own money was a VW GTI.
Nice.
And then I had a VW Corrado.
Okay.
Do you remember those?
Yeah.
Those were really cool cars. But anyways,
Sweet.
That's my car history.
Awesome. So F-Type, I'm sure, is something you're a big
when
fan
I
of.
started, and like I said, I started in a Jaguar role. It was 2013, and we were launching the F-Type. I mean, what a start to my time with the company, right? It's like that was sort of the last time we reimagined and reinvented Jaguar, and we did it launching a car that I would say will probably go down in history as being one of the iconic cars in automotive history.
Absolutely.
The design, the sound, the performance.
Absolutely.
It still is probably one of my favorite cars. I've had a couple of them as company cars, and
I'm jealous.
I mean, I'll tell you a story really quickly. I don't seem to derail, but like when that car first came out, we had a prototype at the office.
Okay.
And my boss and I took it out for lunch, and it was like middle of winter in New Jersey, freezing cold, but it was a convertible, right? We launched as a convertible.
Yep.
And we put the top down, and we go, and like we come out from this little pizza place near the office, and people are photographing us like we're rock stars.
Mm-hmm.
Just because that car was something like no one had ever seen before.
Yeah.
And people just thought that we must be someone famous because we're getting out of this car.
Yeah.
Here we are, just a couple of employees. But it's one of those cars that still puts a smile on my face every time I drive it.
It is, and I got to drive
I've
one.
seen your review.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, truly. So, you're aware of Jaguar's heritage, all of their most iconic cars, E-Type, and in the modern day F-Type. So, what was your first reaction when you got to see this for the first time before the world got to see it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Man, I think I was just blown away. I truly had never seen a car that looked like this before.
Yeah.
And obviously, you can stare at it long enough, and you can see hints of some of the other things that we've done in our history. Jaguar has done, but really, it's such a departure. It's so bold.
Yeah.
It's so dramatic, and frankly, it's a little polarizing, right? But I was blown away. I was like, this car I was just sort of imagining if I saw this car in my rearview mirror for the first time, I'd probably miss it when the light turned green because I'd just be staring at my rearview mirror and like, who is driving this? Like, what this is thing? It looks amazing.
Yes.
So that was my impression.
Yeah, it's very striking. And, obviously there's a lot of mixed reactions to the car online, in person. What do you think is a perspective you could offer to someone who doesn't quite understand the car or agree with how it was designed or the philosophy of it, as someone who's like a fan of the older Jaguars, F-Type, like as an example? Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I don't know, that's a good one. I would say that the design, the F-Type, we really were trying to go make it really affordable and a good value, and we really had really big volume aspirations. And so when you have big volume aspirations, you have to, and you've got a price point you're trying to hit, things like that. I don't want to say you have to dumb down the design, but you have to make the design as appealing to as many people as you possibly can. This time, we're going up market in our price. We have very limited volume aspirations. It's really going to be a niche product. And that allows the designers to be as expressive and bold and daring and dynamic as they possibly want to be, edgy, eccentric, whatever you want to call it. When you don't need to appeal to everyone, the designers have more free reign, more latitude to sort of build the car that they really want, to be as expressive as they really want. And I think that's what you see here today is a car that really the designers, we didn't water it down, we didn't dilute it. A lot of times designers will come up with a concept car and, it just sort of gets diluted from the time, right? But, what you're seeing here today versus what you're going to see in the production version was very similar. Yeah. And we really wanted to make sure that we let the design speak for itself.
Yeah.
We didn't force the design on top of an existing platform that we had. We designed it first, and then we built a platform that it could work under. And most car companies don't do that, right? They take an existing platform and it has hard points and fixed points, and you have to, that's not what we did here. We really started with the design and we kept it pure all the way through.
Yeah. So the ad campaign obviously made a huge splash. It was probably the most I've ever seen non-car people talk about Jaguar.
Right.
How do you think people would have perceived this concept if you had just showed the car, no ad campaign, nothing?
Yeah.
Like if you just let the concept speak for itself?
Yeah, that's a great one. So first of all, I know this might be a minor detail, but in our mind, it wasn't an ad campaign because we didn't put any paid media behind it. We weren't pushing that out. We weren't putting dollars behind it.
Right.
We literally posted it to our Instagram page just to announce that, hey, in 2 weeks' time at the Miami Auto Show, we're going to reveal a concept car. Yeah. Tune in. Jaguar's doing something special. Like all car companies usually do that.
Yeah.
Like stay tuned. Check out what's coming soon. So that's all we did. And the reaction just blew up, right? It got huge.
It did. Yeah.
I will tell you that I don't think as many people would have tuned in to see the Type 00 in Miami 2 weeks later if the initial teaser video hadn't gone so virally. It was organic, but it went so viral, right? So from that perspective, I think it helped get more eyeballs on the car. And I think that's kind of where I would say, from that perspective, I'll chalk it up as a win. I'll take it as a W.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes just all press is good press.
And here's the reality, right, is that the only thing worse than being talked about is being not talked about. And for way too long, Jaguar just wasn't in conversation. It wasn't being talked about. And from that perspective, it really shook things up and got a lot of eyeballs on Type 0.
So was it your intention or the team's intention to kind of just hard punch with the approach? Because, you guys are aware of the customer base and the kinds of people who are true fans, because Jaguar is one of those brands where it's you have people who aren't really aware of it, especially younger people, because, the amount of product you guys sell currently, and then you have people who are Jaguar's everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what was the thought process behind was it super intentional to come up with an ad campaign that really just struck everyone?
Well, I mean, yes, we wanted people to get up and take notice, for sure.
Yeah.
We want to get people to take notice. I mean, I think people confuse things. Like they were like, "Oh, why is it pink? Is that your new brand world color?" It's like, no, it was pink because we were going to Miami.
Yes.
And Miami's associated with pink, right?
Yes.
This is our brand world, right? This is our color palette. You see this beautiful ultramarine blue color and this beautiful white color that it pops perfectly on, right? That's the brand world color. The pink was for Miami.
Yeah.
And then we were going to Art Week. And Art Week is where if you think about a character or a person who you might see in a painting, it's really exuberant or over the top or just an exaggerated version of people. That's the kind of the cast of characters that we had in it.
Yeah.
And I think some people were like, is that your new target client? And it's like, no, that's not the new target client. That's because we're going to Art Week in Miami, right? And I think all that context was sort of lost. Yeah, and people assumed A, it was an ad campaign, B, that was our new brand world, and that was our new target client, and that just really isn't the case. You know, we love our current owners, they're so passionate about the brand. We hope they come along with us on this journey. Yeah, and I hope that they see themselves driving this car when they see the production version.
So, with that in mind, is there anything that you would have done differently if you could do this all over again? Is there anything you would have
I don't know, that's a great question. I mean, think about anything else. Do you remember anything else that you were watching in November of 24? I don't, but we're still talking about this that we watched in November
almost a year later.
24.
Yeah.
So in terms of like impact and breakthrough, and just getting ourselves into people's vernacular and people's conversation, even like you said earlier, non-automotive people who haven't uttered the word Jaguar in a decade, who all of a sudden we were in conversation and we were a topic. We were probably the most talked about brand in the world for a few weeks there. Yeah. So it's a great question. And again, not a single dollar of paid media. I mean, most brands would kill to have that kind of reach and breakthrough.
Organically, yes.
Organically, without a dollar spent.
Yes. So you see things online, you see things in person. So I was at the Miami event. It's a very stark contrast to the overall like energy in the room versus like what you kind of see if you scroll through like Jaguar's comments on Instagram. How much of like, who are you kind of like prioritizing more, kind of like taking a bigger concern of, like the people who are in that room or like kind of like the thousands of stuff you see online?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pay attention to the keyboard warriors, to your point. And then to your point, when you actually get into the room, first of all, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but I think that the car really feels different when you see it in person. Yeah. Scale. I think a lot of people think that it looks CGI'd, even in photographs, even when it's...
The word I've heard is not fully rendered.
Right? Not fully rendered. Yeah, it's like pixelated or Minecraft or something, right?
Right, Minecraft,
But then you see it in person and you're like, okay, I get it. And the scale, the proportions, the surfacing, it all works, right? It all comes together. And so I would say the reason we have been taking this car around the world, Tokyo, Monaco, Munich, Paris, Miami, we went to Miami again, now we're here in California, is because the more people that get exposed to it, the more people who see it with their own eyes, we've seen that that changes hearts and minds. Yes. 100% changes hearts and minds when people see it in person. And so to your point, really, that's why we've been taking it to as many places as we can around the world to get as many people exposed to it as we possibly can.
Yes. So, this is fully electric, obviously. Yeah. And a lot of brands are moving in that direction. But how much of the general rebrand was a combination of global EV mandates or just Jaguar wanting to make a shift entirely?
Yeah. So, again, we started with the design, and then we built the platform that fit the design. And the design, as you can see, very exuberant proportions, and actually an EV powertrain allowed us to get these proportions. Yeah. That that I think an internal combustion or even a PHEV would not allow us. It would have compromised the design.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, it was a purely design decision. The second thing is, as you know, we're a house of brands. We've got Range Rover, which has their platform, which is fully PHEV, ICE, and BEV.
Yeah.
By 2030, you'll see a fully electric version of Defender.
Yeah.
And then for Jaguar, we're fully dedicated, 100% EV.
Yeah.
We feel really comfortable with that. One, it gives you the design that we wanted. Two, it gives us 1,000 horsepower, which meets emissions around the world. It's very hard to get that kind of power and also meet emission standards.
Yeah.
And to your other point, it is a global car. And right now, the EU and the UK are set to ban internal combustion engines in 2035. This car will still be on sale in 2035.
Yeah.
So I think it was definitely design-led. We have a house of brands that allows us to mix and match where appropriate. We think EV is the best for the Jaguar brand. The power, the delivery, the smoothness, the quietness, the lack of NVH, all of that just lends itself really, really well.
Yeah.
And then finally, I think the third tier would be global regulation.
Okay. And if, let's just say, all global EV mandates were reversed tomorrow, what would that change as far as
we wouldn't pivot. Yeah. I think we feel really good that you drive cars all the time, right? And you get to have that perspective of how an EV drives, one EV versus another. And I think there's a lot of homogeneity in EVs in terms of powertrains and delivery.
Yeah.
And I think what you'll see when you get to drive the production version of this is that we have spent a lot of time making sure that it drives like a Jaguar, and it will have a very unique way of delivering the power.
Okay.
And also the ride and handling, the driving dynamics and characteristics. So I feel pretty confident in saying that we will deliver something that nobody else has delivered.
Okay. And do you think, I know you can't share too many details, but how much of this is hardware driven versus being like software enhanced?
I think that's a better question for the engineers.
Okay.
Yeah. But they've spent a ton of time with chassis dynamics, tuning, and that's to your point, that's a mix of the hardware itself and the software and the how the adaptive dynamics work and the tuning and things like that. But in terms of as you know, an EV platform typically gives you incredible structural rigidity.
Yes.
Which allows you to then spend a lot more time tuning the dynamics of your suspension points.
Yeah. So this is obviously a very large GT.
Right.
Not exactly an F-Type replacement. Do you think there's room in the lineup later down the line for something that kind of fits that bill, even if it is fully electric, like a smaller, more driver-focused EV in the portfolio?
Potentially, but we're really focused on our first release, which is our 4-door GT.
Yeah.
And then the other products in the portfolio will come at a later date. We'll talk about it in the future.
So is the goal to effectively have a philosophical replacement for each car in the previous Jaguar lineup? Or are you kind of starting from scratch and kind of coming with something new?
I would say we're starting from scratch.
Yeah.
We're looking at what is the ideal portfolio that Jaguar needs in the future, regardless of what's on sale.
Yeah.
What does it look like? And I think if you look at our history, Jaguar's history, and I'm talking our history for the first 50 years of the brand, we had a very small portfolio, 2 to 3 car portfolio, and still had a very successful niche business with a 2 to 3 car portfolio.
Yeah.
So,
what are you seeing in other EVs, like especially in the performance side of things, that you find interesting that you would like to implement in, EVs at some point in time, like, fake engine sounds, or like, the Hyundai Ioniq 5N has like the simulated DCT? Are those things that you guys are finding interesting, or?
Yeah, I think I'd let the designers and the creatives talk. They can speak better to this, but I think that our philosophy is that from a purity of design and execution standpoint, we believe that an EV should be an EV, and trying to introduce simulated internal combustion noises, actions, blip shifts, whatever it may be, doesn't really, it's incongruous.
Okay.
it doesn't have that continuity with the design and with the platform itself.
Yeah.
We think from a purity of design and execution, it should look, sound, and feel all like it can be.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that companies go through behind the scenes when it comes to developing vehicles and the challenges and emissions. You know, certain states have different crash regulations, and there's so many things that prevent companies from achieving their ideal final product.
Yeah.
And companies often aren't very transparent about these things that they go through. They kind of just say, here it is. They get the backlash. You know, I'm sure it's something that they're not a fan of, but you know, there's many reasons why every car is the way it is. Making cars is hard.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would want people to know as far as challenges or obstacles or barriers you guys have like encountered when it comes to making future Jaguar products, and maybe why we didn't see other versions of previous models?
Interesting. Yeah, I would say, well, I would just answer it like this. I think when you see the production car, we should get you time with the engineers, because they have done a phenomenal job of taking what is truly a concept car look and translating it to production ready. And if you think about some of these bold proportions and that strong upright graphic, for example, that really bold upright graphic, to be able to have something like that from an aerodynamic standpoint and still deliver 400 miles of range, there's an amazing amount of engineering and wind tunnel and aerodynamics work that went into the car to be able to do that. And I'd love for you to talk to the engineers so they can tell you those little stories about how they, because it's 1% here, 1% there, right? You have to, it's engineering to the last tenth to be able to deliver the crash test safety, the range, the dynamics, performance, the comfort, the convenience, all of that, and really a concept car package.
There's a lot of people who have kind of decided that they don't want this car to succeed. To those people, like, what are you most excited to show them when the production version finally comes out? Because there's a lot of things that people, I'm sure, don't know about what the production car is going to be like.
Yeah, that's a great, I think that what we've said from the very beginning, when we revealed this car in Miami last year, was that this car is, some people were going to love it right away. Some people were going to not love it right away, and some people it would grow on. We knew this was going to be a polarizing design. We knew we weren't going to be for everyone, and that's okay, and we're okay with that.
Yeah.
Again, we think we've got a design that some people are really going to love, and they're going to be so proud to own and so proud to drive, and that's kind of what we're focused on.
So, okay, what's your favorite Jaguar, like, of all time?
Oh man. I would say if I got a chance to go out and buy that XJ220 out there, I mean, absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. That would be my car for the weekend.
Okay.
Right? That would just only occasionally, maybe like only to really occasionally.
Yeah.
I love when we launched the 2017 F-Type SVR.
Yes.
Oof. We did it in this French racing blue color.
Yeah.
Carbon ceramic brakes. That would be in my garage for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I would say probably the best car we've ever made, this is my opinion, is the F-Pace SVR. I mean, that's a car that you can drive 365 days of the year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can do Costco runs, you can take your kids to school, you can take it to the mountains, take it on a date night. It rips up and down. I mean, it is so quick, so fast. Absolutely blast to drive. Sounds great. Looks great. Great tech.
Yeah.
I'd say, F-Pace SVR, probably one of those hidden gems of the automotive world.
Yeah. You don't see too many of them pretty often, but when you do, it's like
Special occasion. Yeah.
Okay, final question. Dream 3-car garage, money is no object.
Wow. Dream 3-car garage, money no object. Oh man, that is a great one. I will say, I think a perfect garage pair, if we're just talking cars that are currently on sale, like brand new cars, maybe, I would say a new Range Rover and a Porsche 911 make a perfect pair together.
Yeah.
that's your car. The Range Rover is so versatile. You can literally do anything with that car.
Yeah.
You know, it's date night, it's school run, it's take a client to a meeting. It can do anything. It really is so versatile. Of course, the 911, another icon of automotive world.
Yep.
And I don't know, maybe something fun, like I was mentioning, like some car like from my teenage, you know.
Yeah. You need something weird, a weird third one to kind of like, you know, mix it up.
I don't know. That's a great one. You stumped me there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I will tell you, like, again, growing up, I've always been a fan of a Ford Mustang.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, again, another icon, right? Like you really can't go wrong with just enjoying a good Mustang.
Yeah. I mean, and it has, you know, similar characteristics to the F-Type. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I wish that we were still making the F-Type. Again, I think it's an automotive icon. I would buy a 2017 F-Type SVR. That would be a perfect for my garage.
Yeah.
And I would keep that thing for forever.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brandon.
Yeah, thanks, Miles.
I'm excited to see what the production version looks like. I'm sure everyone is super curious. When can we expect to see, like, a ballpark of when we could expect to see this car?
Yeah, so 2025 was really all about Type 00. It's really trying to reset the brand, get it in front of as many people as we can, try to reset people's thinking around Jaguar. And then in 2026, that's when we reveal the production car. Yeah. And that's when we start taking orders.
Awesome. Can I drive it when it
100%. 100%.
Awesome.
Okay.
He said it. I'm driving that car. Okay. Cool. So there was some pretty interesting stuff there, but what stood out to me the most is that, one, Jaguar with the whole promo video and the colors of the concept car, that was really about fitting in for Miami Art Week more so than the direction of the brand as a whole. Two, other OEMs could probably learn a thing or two from Jaguar about how to get an extremely viral reaction without spending a single dollar on marketing. Three, Jaguar is now trying to pivot to being a more lower production volume company, which is actually a pretty massive and interesting shift. And lastly, even with the backlash, Jaguar is standing 10 toes down. They're standing on business, and they would apparently do it the same all over again. But the promo video and the concept car themselves are really a distraction and an aside from what's actually important, which is the real car, the production version, which we still haven't seen yet and won't still see for a little bit longer. So now that we've gotten through the madness of everything that happened last year, let's wait and see what this car looks like and what it drives like, which I have confirmation from Jaguar, as you saw, that I will be driving this car for the channel. But the big takeaway here is that no matter how good this production car is, like most things in life, it'll never be as good as a GT4 RS. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.